Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football, Chelsea in crisis. And before Chelsea fans bombard the comments, this is not on me. We're not talking about you dropping points or over-egging the pudding. This is a case of just when you thought Chelsea were climbing out of the crisis, they jump right back in. This is boardroom level, it's chaotic, it's bad news. And I think Chelsea fans, look, from the outside in, I've always said it's chaotic. You need a front man up front. You need a front man at the top of your football club. This is Todd Boehly against Clearlake. This is a major issue. This is two competing egos who want to come out on top and have different ideas of what's best for Chelsea. And just when... Well, I mean, there's two opportunities, and Pochettino is apparently something they disagreed with. Boehly wanted to stick with Pochettino. Clearlake wanted to get rid of him. Clearlake are now taking the bigger decisions, and Boehly doesn't necessarily agree with them. And what you're left with is Chelsea Football Club, who are probably the most inconsistent club in the Premier League, certainly out of the traditional top six. You just never know what you're going to get. They should be sponsored by Tom Hanks, dressed as Forrest Gump, with himself sat on a bench with a box of chocolates saying you never know what you're going to get. Because you never know what you're going to get with Chelsea. It is chaotic. It is destructive. And they will be at breaking point very, very quickly, devaluing their football club if they're not careful. Now, I do think they'll find a way out of this. But it is another crisis, and it is another problem for the football club, because if you're Arsenal, you're not having this problem. If you're Man City, you're not having this problem. If you're Liverpool, you're not having this problem. And Chelsea are never going to climb out of their problems if they keep jumping back in with more problems. And look, longer term, this has to sort itself out. Of course it does, because for Clearlake and Todd Boehly, they can't go to war because they devalue the club that they're investing in to try and make money out of. And ultimately, let's not forget that most owners of football clubs want to make money out of the football club, whether it's Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. They want to make money out of it. Unless you're super rich and it's a play toy, maybe that's what it is for Newcastle, Man City, I don't know. But ultimately, you want to be successful. And success isn't always money, it's winning trophies. Chelsea can't win. Even if Clearlake and Todd Boehly don't care about making money, which I think they do, they still want to win a title. You're not going to do that with this sort of problem. So where Chelsea's problem is at the moment is that they've had this scenario where we felt Todd Boehly was in charge with Clearlake Capital behind it. And what we've now got is, different visions. And apparently Clearlake own about 60% and Todd Boehly owns about 15%. And neither want to sell their shares and neither want to give up, their say. And both would probably like to buy each other out, but neither wants to be bought out. And they've got different opinions. And what you've got here is a problem, because this happens a lot in business where people can't afford to buy it themselves. They get a consortium. Oh, yeah, this is going to be great. We're all in it together against the bad people that we're buying it from. They're the enemy. You get hold of the club and then suddenly you look at each other and go, I don't agree with you. And then suddenly you start fighting. And this is why you always want to have one specific group who own your football club or person, because if they're accountable then. And if things start going wrong with Chelsea, then Clearlake can say it's Boehly and Boehly can say it's Clearlake. And they can't actually work together when there's resentment there. And it feels like there is that now. Can they work in harmony in some sort of way? Yes, but are they actually united in their opinion? No. So it's problematic. It is a bit of a breaking point for Chelsea. How do they find a solution to this? Well, from what we're hearing, neither wants to give up. What both want to take over. So you've got to buy the other one out, which is more expenditure, isn't it? I mean, ultimately, if you buy 100% of something by putting in 20% and someone puts 60% in, you've spent your money to get your thing and you're meant to work together. If you then got to spend more money to get them out, you're spending money on something you didn't expect to have to be spending money on. So it needs to be resolved very, very quickly. Do I think that it's a good thing for Chelsea? Obviously not. But I think that if these are business people and they are in this for business, then they're going to realise very, very quickly that Chelsea Football Club devalues every day they're falling out. So a solution will be found. Either one of them will sell their shares and go, or they'll find a way to work together to the best of their capabilities. But long term, I don't see how that works. I don't think it's not like they were great mates before. They did a business deal and they found problems in a very short period of time. When you look at Chelsea and who they're better off with, Clearlake or Boehly, get in the comments, Chelsea fans. I don't know. I look at your football club, and I've said it for a long time. This is a football club that over the last 20 years actually has done very, very well. From the days that Abramovich took over and Mourinho came in, even beyond Mourinho with the likes of Ancelotti and, other coaches like Conte and Sarri, they've won titles. Chelsea are a team that wins titles, but not anymore. So Chelsea Football Club are not where they would hope to be. And it's how they get to that and what the best option is. Look, it's been chaotic no matter. I don't think for me, looking from the outside in, if Boehly was responsible for the first couple of years and Clearlake had been responsible since, last February to now, I don't look at them and go, oh, that bit's been better than that bit. I thought getting rid of Pochettino was a mistake. Apparently Boehly wanted to keep him, Clearlake didn't. I think selling Sterling when you actually bought him is incredible. I think the amount of long-term contracts you give out is incredible. I don't know whether Chelsea are geniuses and nobody else has figured it out, or they are just coming up with ideas that no one would go near. I mean, giving 10-year contracts to players. They've got a transfer ban potentially coming down the line as well. Yeah, it's messy. It's really messy for Chelsea. And I look at where they are at the moment, and whilst I felt that Maresca, in a footballing sense, I wouldn't be saying Chelsea are in a crisis, but they've gone and found another one in the boardroom, and it's problematic for them. I think Todd Boehly wants to build a stadium, and Clearlake don't as well. So there's all that sort. I mean, I can't believe Chelsea were building a stadium in Battersea about 20 years ago, and they still haven't done it. And you go to Chelsea, if you've ever been to Stamford Bridge, if you've just seen it on the telly, you wouldn't believe what it's like outside, because it's one of the most cramped grounds in the Premier League. Like, you go to the Emirates, there's massive space around it. You go to Old Trafford, there's massive space around it. Man City's got the same. But Stamford Bridge, for a small ground, is actually very compact all around it as well. There's not a lot of space. So I'm amazed that they've never sorted that out. And look, I'm not saying Boehly's right or Clearlake's right, but Chelsea will be better off with one clear voice. And even then, they might not be that great. But this is not going to help them. But I do think in the long term, Pochettino was the right one to keep. That's gone. I actually think Maresca, in the first few weeks of the season, they are showing signs of recovery, and they have got some good players if they can find some consistency. But that will be derailed if there are things going on upstairs. So finally, Chelsea might be finding a little bit of consistency on the pitch again, and then it's going to fall down because of what's going on upstairs. Obviously, I still think they need a striker, but that's something that maybe Clearlake and Boehly disagreed on with that. But I think that this is never going to not be a problem in football when you've got consortiums running football clubs with wealthy consortiums, because those people are wealthy business people. And when you spend time with wealthy business people, they are wealthy business people because they are, pretty powerful and pretty headstrong. And this needs to be resolved for Chelsea as soon as possible. I think they will resolve it because you're devaluing Chelsea, which doesn't help anybody. But what the worst thing can happen for Chelsea is if both of them are determined to buy each other out, because that could lead to quite a long process of destruction to get what they want. Realistically, this is probably for Chelsea. Look, it's the same with Man United with the Glazers. It's the same with Arsenal with Kroenke. It's the same with Liverpool with FSG. And it's the same with the Newcastle fans had with Mike Ashley. This is for Chelsea fans to figure out, which, I'm sure we'll get plenty in the comments. I'm sure we'll get plenty of non-Chelsea fans in the comments. But realistically, the ones I'm interested in here are the Chelsea fans, because what is it you want? And I look at Chelsea and I think that the reason Chelsea fans probably haven't been so vocal or come together about this the way that United fans did with the Glazers is because I've always said about Boehly and Clearlake, it's chaotic. It's a mess. But they're not doing what Mike Ashley did in not spending money. They're spending ridiculous money in a chaotic way. And I think for Chelsea fans, you can forgive them for going, yeah, it's chaotic. I mean, God knows what's happening, but are we going to really moan at people who are spending so much money on so many players? But I think actually now Chelsea fans need to start being a little bit more vocal and getting a voice out there, because there is a lot going on above your club. And if you've got a power struggle, then this is where the fans need to step in and go, this is what we want. because that will solve this a lot quicker, in my opinion. You know, you pick a side or whatever to get this resolved. Because if you sit back and let two factions go to war to try and win the club, it could cause the club a lot of damage. They either need to get together and work together or separate and buy each other out. And the fans can have a big say in that. It's not for me to say whether they're better off with Boehly or Clearlake or them together, but Chelsea fans certainly need to start having their voice on this because it's your club. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. Do you think this will impact Chelsea on the pitch? Because I'm not so sure. I think Maresca has assembled a squad there that if they can get their head down, they might actually be able to use it in a positive way. Get your comments in. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you on the next one.